The breakup that broke me, but it didn't end me. It was literally the perfect kind of relationship. We met in a church program. Everything that surrounded that made it feel like it was God ordained. At that point, I felt like I have kind of encountered someone that could carry me, even emotionally. One of my friends saw me. She was so happy. And she was like, oh, has he proposed? And I was like, we've broken up. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's episode 2 of Not Caught to Be Silent. And today we are going to be diving into a more personal and emotional topic. The breakup that broke me, but it didn't end me. How many of us have gone through a personal breakup in a relationship or even a friendship, and we are like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening to me. I can't believe I'm going through this. I'm sure some of us have been there, whereby we felt traicionado. How would they say it in English? We felt betrayed. We felt like, no, this is the end, that you can never love again, you can never allow anybody in your space, kind of a thing. But today I'm going to be diving into a more personal experience for myself. It literally felt like everything was tea, both physically, because I had certain desires then. It was literally the perfect kind of relationship-ish. We met in a church program. At the time as well, I was also taking pictures. I used to take pictures, and at that time I took pictures at the church program, and that was one of the ways I slid into his DMs at that time. Everything that surrounded that made it feel like it was God ordained. Everything that surrounded that made it feel like it was right, it was pure, it was perfect. And this person at the time was also speaking my language as well. However, it was a long distance-ish relationship. Basically, we were not in the same country at all, but despite the distance and with the mindset that I wanted the one to be the one, like that was literally the mindset. I was deeply invested. He also showed that I was deeply invested as well at the time. That experience made me love again. That experience made me trust again. That experience opened my heart to trust the opposite sex again. I'm not sure if any one of you guys have watched one of our videos, the bridal hunt video. There was an episode where I had to try on a dress, and one of the things I said in that video was that I want to be carried. And at that point I felt like I've kind of encountered someone that could carry me physically, emotionally. I did take responsibility of how the relationship went. I indulged in things that was not pleasing to God as well. Everything that was done was just like, even emotionally, and you trying to do everything to make sure you don't lose this person. And with time I realized that that's actually attachment. But regardless of that, it didn't necessarily justify everything that happened within that relationship. It was very, very painful to me, because it was literally the only man that I could fully trust at the time, that I felt I could fully trust, aside from probably 2 people. Because I could fully open my heart to, the only person I allowed into my small space, meeting people that are there to me, both family and friends as well. But then what happened? It felt like everything I had given was crushed, was just tampered with and crushed, like in a blink of an eye. It was just crushed. That was a painful experience. It was so painful that even after the breakup, I had to come back to the UK, and then I went for choir rehearsals, and that day they happened to be leading worship before normal rehearsals and stuff. If you see tears, I was crying, I was weeping, and I found myself literally asking and questioning God. But God, why was it that every man at that time injured me, or most of the men at that time did painful things to me? Why? I was just asking God why. I was wailing because my heart was heavy. My heart was so heavy. It was so heavy, I just couldn't. And at that time as well, I couldn't necessarily tell most of my friends as well. I just couldn't. Everything was just a lot. It made me question a lot, but then I still made up my mind that regardless, I'm still going to love. Regardless, I will not allow this experience change the way I see love, the way I express love. Thank you, Jesus. So there were lots of questions that came to mind at that point, like why do the men I love at the time end up hurting me? Why do I keep attracting this kind of pain? Why do I keep attracting this type of behavior? To the point that I had to ask God, please help me experience love. Help me experience love, but not from the opposite sex. Help me experience love in a different dimension. That was one of the prayers I prayed. Help me experience love in a different dimension. I realized that I was trying to fill voids or certain absence in my life with this person as well, which I take responsibility for. But then you realize that there is no one, absolutely nobody that can fill the void for you. Even your wife cannot fill that void, your husband, no. You have to find strength in God. You have to be able to find God. Let God, and the interesting thing is that you can call God to where you're at. God knows where you're at, but you can invite him. In that situation, I literally had to tell God, it's like, Baba, I beg, help me experience love. Love that doesn't come from the opposite sex, and love that does not want anything in exchange. It was very, very important for me to experience that. And even after the breakup and everything, I believe one of the things I had was not to get into any relationship at the time. I believe for a while, probably about 2 years or a year. But because I know the type of person I was at that time, I had to tell one of my friends, and they were the ones that literally kept me accountable in that sense, because if not, I would have been in the trenches. I would have gone inside the ghetto. I really thank God, because what I thought would break me perhaps did break me, and also made me realize things in me that are not of God. But it didn't end me. It made me realize that I can find wholeness in Christ, which is at the moment still a journey for me. Healing as well in certain areas. But honestly, I cried, I isolated, I also went, I think I went out a lot, just doing things that I wanted to do. For example, I remember like then my ex really loved my hair. I had very long hair and stuff, and I've always wanted to cut it. So one of the things I did then, I just cut it off, like, I'm free. And it felt like a new beginning for me as well. That was just something personal. But through all of it, I still kept showing up and stuff. And I didn't tell my friends. I started telling them little by little and stuff like that. And I remember even a time when I came back, one of my friends saw me. She was so happy. And she was like, as he proposed, kind of a thing. And I was like, we've broken up. You know when you are supposed to end something, but then you choose not to end it. You choose not to end it. I just remember how she was so excited, and then we are like, oh no. No, this relationship is not gonna go. Imagine spending over 2 years of your life with someone, and then someone you've given it all, like you've planned things together, you've worked on things together and everything, and then suddenly the one is no longer the one. Hey, God, I beg. So who is going to be the one? Of course, it did break me. It did break the way I interacted with people, not necessarily in a spiteful way. I realized at the point as well that there was lots of pain inside of me. There were lots of pain inside of me. The way I would, even looking back now, the way I would speak to people. You know, when you realize that this is not coming from the right source, yeah, that was how I felt. And this is just me being open, honest, and bringing you guys on the journey of how I went through that season, how I went through the whole process. And I'm here today by the grace of God. Yeah, God has been faithful. God has been true. God can be trusted. God can be very, very, very much. He can be trusted. He can be trusted. Yeah, he can be trusted. So if you're going through heartbreak, if you, I be you're the one that gave somebody breakfast or anything, just know that you're not alone. Know that you can find strength in God. I know it can sound like a very cliche thing to say, but you can draw strength from God. I was even telling one of my friends, like one of the things that made me realize that for the first time I felt lonely was when because obviously there were lots of plans on ground, and I was home one day, and normally if something happens to me I have someone to call, and I injured myself, I think my finger that day or something, and I screamed, but then there was nobody to help me. And I sat on the stairs. Sat on the stairs, and I think I started crying because for the first time in a very, very, very long time, I felt nobody could help me. The person that I would normally run to, not even God, who, that's another thing I did really, 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 really wrong in other areas. The person I would run to was nowhere to be found. And that was a very, very painful experience. If you're going through any relationship or friendship heartbreak are one of the worst heartbreaks, like but we'll get to that. You're going through anything, just know that you are not necessarily alone. Even if you feel like you might actually feel alone at this point, that nobody understands you, nobody sees your point and everything. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. But just don't dwell in it for too long. Certain things have happened even lately with some people I've encountered and stuff. And then whilst I was speaking with one of my friends over the weekend, I was like, you know what? I actually have a choice. I can choose to react this way, or I can choose to react that way. And honestly, it might be easy said than done, but you can make a decision to choose how you would react. You can make a decision to choose how you would react. And it's something I'm trying to train myself on. Because one of the things my mom normally tells me is like, Annie, don't let your emotions control you. Don't let your emotions control you. Because I know like my emotions I used to, or I can kind of dwell in it, but I'm learning that no, my emotions don't need to control me. If you are listening and you feel shattered at the moment, by God's grace, I can't say I see you, but God sees you. God sees you. He hears you. He cares for you. He knows that what he did to you was wrong. He knows that perhaps how you approached things was wrong, but that doesn't change the fact that he loves you. He loves you. You are very, very dear to him. You are very, very dear to his heart. And he wants to see you whole. He wants to see you whole. He wants you to be fully healed and whole. And you can only find that in him. You can only find that in Jesus. You can only find that in Jesus. Yes, you might be broken, but you can be whole again. You might be broken, but you can be whole again. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I hope you enjoyed that little chit chat. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and always remember you're not alone. It might sound cliche, but you have God. You have God. You are not alone. You're not called to be silent. Healing can be a process, but you can be made whole. And see you guys in our next episode. Bye.